1093rd meeting of the Security Council is called to order. The provisional agenda for this meeting is the question concerning Haiti. The agenda is adopted. In accordance with Rule 37 of the Council's Provisional Rules of Procedure, I invite the representatives of Barbados, the Dominican Republic, Haiti, and Mexico to participate in this meeting. It is so decided. In accordance with Rule 39 of the Council's Provisional Rules of Procedure, I invite the following briefers to participate in this meeting. Mr. Carlos Ruiz Massieu, Special Representative of the Secretary General and Head of the United Nations Integrated Office in Haiti, and Mr. John Branlandino, Acting Executive Director, United Nations Office for Drugs and Crime. It is so decided. The Security Council will now begin its consideration of item 2 of the agenda. I wish to draw the attention of Council members to document S/2026/31, the report of the Secretary General on the United Nations Integrated Office in Haiti. I now give the floor to Mr. Carlos Ruiz Massieu.
I thank you, Mr. President. It is an honor to present the report of the Secretary General to the Security Council and to brief the Council on the latest developments in Haiti. It is also an honor to be joined in this briefing by the officer in charge of UNODC. And I also take the opportunity to greet and thank the government of Haiti through his ambassador here for all the support that they give to our work of the UN and BINUH in particular. Mr. President, distinguished members of the Council, as we start a new year, there are high expectations for tangible progress on the political and security fronts in Haiti. To bring the transition to a close and to achieve this, political responsibilities must be assumed, security efforts sustained, and international engagement must remain focused and coherent. Mr.
President, Haiti has entered a critical juncture in its process of rebuilding democratic institutions. The arrangements for the current transition shall thus end on the 7th of February. There's an overriding need for national stakeholders to strive to contain political fragmentation, to cast aside their differences, to sustain institutional continuity, and to focus on the organization of elections. Let us be clear, the country has no time to waste on prolonged internecine fighting. The situation requires that the authorities, state institutions, political parties, civil society, the private sector, and religious and community leaders, for them all to prioritize the national interest and to act with responsibility and with restraint. Mr. President, finding common ground around the mechanisms of efficient and effective government beyond the 7th of February remains key to advance and to fully carry out the transition, as well as to enhance accountability and to accelerate electoral preparations.
Mr. President, at this critical juncture, I have continued to exercise the good offices of the Secretary General in support of Haitian-led efforts to ease political tensions. Engagement with political stakeholders, civil society, women and youth groups, and institutional counterparts has focused on fostering inclusive exchanges around security, electoral priorities, governance challenges, and impunity concerns. BINUH will continue to facilitate inter-Haitian consultations and encourage stakeholders to engage constructively on ways to create the necessary conditions to end the transition and restore democratic institutions. Steps taken in recent months to advance electoral preparations are particularly encouraging. The adoption of an electoral decree on 1 December and the publication of an electoral calendar on 23 December provide an operational framework for moving forward after years of delay. New legal provisions on voter registration, diaspora participation, women's political inclusion, and the decentralization of vote tabulation, if effectively applied, stand to contribute to credible and inclusive elections. In particular, the introduction of new requirements on women's representation on candidate lists, coupled with financial incentives, constitutes an important step towards addressing long-standing barriers to political inclusion. The Prime Minister declared 2026 an electoral year. Achieving this goal will require sustained coordination among relevant institutions, predictable financing of the electoral process, and security conditions that allow all voters and candidates to participate without fear. In this regard, the United Nations remain engaged in supporting the Provisional Electoral Council to help ensure that preparations advance in a manner that is technically sound, inclusive, and credible. I stand ready to further lead and reinforce the UN engagement on this front and coordinate international assistance to national efforts to hold elections. Distinguished members of the Council, gangs continue to demonstrate the capacity to mount coordinated attacks, exert control over key economic corridors and agricultural regions, force displacement, stretch humanitarian response capacity, and push police resources to its limits. Intentional homicides in 2025 increased by nearly 20% compared with the more than 7,500 in 2024. At the same time, sustained pressure on gangs has yielded results. National security forces have intensified operations to reclaim territory and disrupt gang activities. In some parts of Port-au-Prince, as well as the Artibonite department, police operations supported by the GSF have led to the reopening of some road networks. In the heart of the capital of Port-au-Prince, limited improvements are visible. A state presence around the Champ de Mars, where the National Palace and several key ministries are located, is gradually being restored. The challenge now lies in expanding and sustaining security gains, as well as creating conditions for the delivery of basic services to communities. Without this, security improvements clearly risk reversal. Distinguished members of the Council, the transition of the Multinational Security Support Mission to the Gang Suppression Force, alongside the establishment of the United Nations Support Office in Haiti, UNSO, as authorized by this Council in Resolution 2793, represents a critical step to enhance international support to assist Haiti. I welcome the progress made for the establishment of UNSO with the support of Haitian and Dominican authorities, as USG CARE informed this Council last week. I would like to also welcome the appointment of Mr. Jack Christophedes as Special Representative for the Member State-led Gang Suppression Force, and I look forward to working closely with him to ensure coordination and complementarity in our joint support to Haitian institutions. Recognizing the positive momentum created by the Fourth Generation Conference last December, I would like to take this opportunity to reiterate the urgent need for member states to continue to provide the Gang Suppression Force with the necessary resources to execute its mandate, including through voluntary contribution to the UN-managed trust fund. At the same time, immediate security objectives must be balanced with longer-term strengthening towards the autonomy of national security institutions. The benchmarks annexed to the report of the Secretary General provide a framework for progress, accountability, and sustainability in this regard. Mr. President, lasting stability will require renewed efforts to design and implement credible pathways for disengagement from violence and reintegration into society, particularly for youth and children. Gangs continue to recruit and exploit children by manipulating grievances and their daily suffering of ordinary citizens from marginalized neighborhoods. From this perspective, reinstating a national authority on disarmament, dismantlement, and reintegration remains clearly a priority. A nationally led approach to DDR is essential to complement enforcement measures laid by national security forces with the support of the Gang Suppression Force. BINUH, working alongside the United Nations agency funds and programs, will continue to support national authorities in designing and implementing safe exit, DDR, and CBR initiatives prioritizing children. Mr. President, distinguished members of the Council, the humanitarian situations remain a source of grave concern. Approximately 6.4 million people require humanitarian assistance in Haiti, placing the country among the largest humanitarian caseload in the region. The humanitarian response remains underfunded. Last year, Haiti was one of the least funded global humanitarian appeals. In 2026, $880 million is required to help 4.2 million among the most vulnerable. Mr. President, the period ahead is certainly crucial for Haiti. Managing the political calendar, supporting still fragile stabilization efforts, and addressing persistent humanitarian needs will directly determine the country's ability to progress towards credible elections and a gradual return to a normal institutional functioning. The developments we have observed demonstrate that progress is possible, but that it remains reversible. Such progress required continued national commitment, unwavering international support, and close coordination among the security, political, humanitarian, and stabilization components. Any disruption to this coherence would pose a real risk of setbacks. And in this particular juncture, unwavering and timely support from the Security Council will remain as important as ever. I thank you, Mr. President.
I thank Mr. Ruiz Massieu for his briefing. I now give the floor to Mr. John Brandolino.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening from Vienna. Thank you for the opportunity to brief the Council on behalf of the UN Office on Drugs and Crime, pursuant to resolutions 2692, 2743, and 2785 of the Security Council. Today, I will present the findings of UNODC's 10th report, which provides an overview of key developments from October to December 2025 on sources and routes of illegal arms, illicit financial flows, and related UN activities and recommendations. In addition to this report builds on our cumulative reporting since 2022 to present an assessment of the evolution of criminal networks, illicit markets, and security dynamics in Haiti in the last 3 years. Taken together, the findings point to a crisis that has grown more violent, more systemic, and more embedded. And at the center of this evolution is a profound transformation of Haiti's security landscape. Groups that once operated as fragmented local gangs or vigilante forces have reorganized themselves into structured criminal networks with defined leadership, territorial ambitions, and diversified revenue streams. Many have consolidated themselves into federated coalitions to coordinate their actions, and in some cases now even frame their activities in political language. Vivanson, one of the most prominent coalitions, has coordinated large-scale attacks against the police, prisons, and key economic infrastructure. And while rivalries between gangs persist, the consolidation has strengthened their resilience, allowing them to pool resources, withstand leadership losses, and expand their influences. As a result, armed groups have gained near total control, both within Port-au-Prince and along key corridors into Artibonite and Plateau Central. They have prioritized strategic points such as ports, fuel depots, highways, and border towns to control supply chains and extract money from local populations. Extortion has thus become a core revenue stream alongside illicit income generated by trafficking in things like drugs, weapons, and ammunition. These criminal economies are directly fueling the violence faced by civilians. According to BINUH, over 5,600 people were killed in 2024, and trends in 2025, as mentioned, indicate continued escalation, compounding deep humanitarian needs. Against this backdrop, it is important to note that Haitian authorities are taking action. Just a few days ago, the Haitian National Police conducted operations targeting gang leadership figures and weapons storage sites. This reflects the authorities' continued determination to confront armed groups and restore state authority, and UNODC commends these efforts. Distinguished members of the Council, the evolution of organized violence in Haiti is intrinsically linked to the arms trafficking trade. Since 2022, UNODC has documented increased inflows of high caliber and even military grade weapons through adaptive maritime, air, and land routes. These networks operate with notable flexibility. They rely on discrete consignments and rapidly shifting routes and intermediaries. When one corridor is disrupted, another quickly emerges and takes its place. In this respect, the response of the Dominican Republic has been instructive. After identifying that their territory was being used as a transit route, the authorities strengthened border controls and conducted joint operations leading to significant seizures in 2025. And while smaller scale trafficking persists, these actions disrupted established supply chains and reduced major flows. At the same time, traffickers have shifted towards weaker Haitian ports, offshore transfers, and indirect routes to evade embargo controls. And meanwhile, private security companies and informal self-defense groups are driving the illicit firearms trade, taking advantage of weak oversight and diversion from legal sources. And underlying these flows is a money laundering architecture that involves cash smuggling, unregulated remittance channels, trade-based schemes, and front companies. In 2025 alone, Haiti's Financial Intelligence Unit processed nearly 1.5 million transaction reports. However, significant blind spots remain in key sectors, and enforcement outcomes continue to be limited. Mr. President, what these findings ultimately reveal is that the situation in Haiti has grown beyond a national crisis into a broader interleague supply chain challenge and regional security threat. Firearms, drug, ammunition, illicit financial flows move along the same routes, compounded by corruption and collusion. They must therefore be addressed comprehensively rather than as isolated offenses. This requires continued and strengthened enforcement of the UN arms embargo, including tighter export controls, end-user verification, pre-shipment checks, and systematic tracing of seized weapons. It also requires sustained efforts to address corruption for any hope of long-term stability. The effective functioning protection of the specialized judicial units responsible for corruption and financial crime cases are critical to preventing interference and ensuring accountability. And we wish to commend the efforts of the Anti-Corruption Unit, the ULCC, for continuing its work under exceptionally adverse security conditions. And lastly, it requires ensuring adequate funding, resources, and support for the Gang Suppression Force and the UN Support Office in Haiti to help restore stability and rule of law. Ladies and gentlemen, in closing, I would like to express my gratitude for the close partnership with the UN Integrated Office in Haiti under the leadership of SRSG Carlos Ruiz, who just spoke, and with the wider UN country team in Haiti. UNODC remains committed to working with BINUH, the Haitian authorities, and our international partners to help bring peace, security, and dignity back to Haiti and its people. Thank you.
I thank Mr. Brandolino for his briefing. I now give the floor to those council members who wish to make statements. I give the floor to to the representative of the United States.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you to our briefers today. Haiti faces an unprecedented crisis, with gangs terrorizing communities, extorting families, and recruiting young people to commit horrors on behalf of gang leaders. The effects of this violence threaten not only Haiti, but the stability of the wider Caribbean and Western Hemisphere. Even as these real challenges continue, committed Haitians and numerous partners in the international community are stepping up to show their commitment to restoring order through financial donations, troop pledges, technical and humanitarian assistance, and much more. This meeting is timely for many reasons. For the United States, as we work closely with our co-pen Panama and the members of the Security Council to renew the UN Integrated Office in Haiti, its mandate, for the standing group of partners and the numerous countries who have pledged troops to the gang suppression force, and for Haiti as the Transitional Presidential Council steps down on February 7th. These partners of Haiti, along with the UN Support Office in Haiti, all play essential roles to ensure the security and stability of the Haitian state. We call on member states to continue to contribute to the UN Trust Fund, which supports the Gang Suppression Force's personnel costs. Thank you to those who have already made substantial contributions to further peace and security in Haiti. With the logistical and administrative backing of the UN Support Office, the Gang Suppression Force will be well positioned to take the fight to the gangs, recover lost territory, and restore safety and security. The United States remains relentless in pursuing those who undermine Haitian security and arm or finance terrorist gangs. We will expand our use of all available tools, including financial sanctions, arms seizures, visas, and other immigration restrictions to counter the endemic impunity that robs the Haitian children of their future. Further, we call on all relevant member states and the Council to also sanction individuals at the UN. Collective action is essential to hold perpetrators accountable and restore hope to the Haitian people. The United States stands with Haiti, and we will continue to work with Haitians and international partners towards the stability of the country. Thank you.
I thank the representative of the United States for the statement. I give the floor to the representative of Panama.
Gracias, Presidente.
Thank you, Mr. President. We are grateful for the briefing presented by the Special Representative of the Secretary General for Haiti, Carlos Ruiz Massieu. We're also grateful for the briefing issued by the Acting Executive Director of the UNODC, Mr. John Brandolino. Moreover, we wish to welcome the delegations of Haiti, the Dominican Republic, and Mexico and Barbados. They honor us today with their presence. We stand at a critical juncture for political stability in the Sister Republic of Haiti. This is because in only 18 days the mandate of the Transitional Presidential Council will conclude. In light of that fact, we respectfully appeal to the political class in Haiti and Haitian society as a whole to maintain constructive dialogue and to arrive at a consensus-based solution. The Haitian people need national interest to be placed over and above political differences. With this in mind, Panama believes that priority must be given to ensuring that the work of BINUH, the Gang Suppression Force, its support office, and the international community is joint and coordinated in nature. This in order to ensure that when elections can be held, they are conducted in a safe, peaceful, fair, free, and participatory environment. The persistent nature of violence, as well as its spread to other departments in the country, remain matters of utmost concern. Between January and November of 2025 alone, around 8,100 killings were reported. Moreover, we note with profound regret that almost 500 cases of sexual and gender-based violence were reported between September and November of 2025 alone. We also note with similar regret the persistent forced recruitment of thousands of boys and girls. Gangs are the primary perpetrators of the violence outlined above. Consequently, Panama unequivocally condemns the fact that those that perpetrate these atrocious acts attempt to stand as so-called political leaders and saviors of their own victims. This is a cowardly act of hypocrisy whose only purpose is to disregard the unspeakable suffering that these very people have inflicted on their people to foster their own impunity. For Panama, it is also a source of concern to note the increasing number of extrajudicial killings as well as the growing activity of self-defense groups. Moreover, we stand in solidarity with the families and loved ones of children that have lost their lives in the context of the various security operations in the country and during clashes between groups. Against this backdrop, we appeal to all stakeholders that seek to restore peace and security in Haiti. We appeal to them to conduct their work with a child-sensitive approach and with absolute respect for human rights. President, justice and security are intrinsically linked. As such, Panama underscores the need to make progress with strengthening the Haitian justice system. We are acutely cognizant, moreover, of the situation in the penitentiary system, in particular prison overcrowding and the high number of people currently in prolonged pre-trial detention. There is a need to adopt tangible measures, particularly in connection with misdemeanors. Such measures should make it possible to tackle overcrowding in detention centers. Against that backdrop, of particular importance is the restoration and construction of detention centers. It is equally important to guarantee that those that already exist meet international standards. There must be appropriate separation of those deprived of their freedom from others, and this should be done adopting a gender-sensitive approach and one which is sensitive to the need to protect children. President, the complex nature of Haiti's crisis demands that we adopt a comprehensive approach. In renewing the BINUH mandate, it is vital to ensure that an appropriate balance be struck between political security and rule of law components. Achieving that goal involves bolstering support for the political process and the electoral process. The mandate must also support the justice system and the prison system. Disarmament, dismantling and reintegration programs must be strengthened, and the promotion and protection of human rights must be stepped up. A gender and childhood-based approach is key here. Only through a comprehensive mandate tailored to the current context and focused on people will be able to create the necessary enabling environment so that Haiti, once and for all, can achieve peace and well-being for all its people. Thank you.
I thank the representative of Panama for the statement. I give the floor to the representative of the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
Monsieur le Président, j'ai l'honneur.
Mr. President, I have the honor to deliver this statement on behalf of the 3 African members of the Security Council, A3, namely Liberia, Somalia, and my own country, the Democratic Republic of the Congo. The A3 thanks the Special Representative of the Secretary General for Haiti and the Acting Executive Director of UNODC for their enlightening briefings. We welcome their continued engagement in terms of bringing peace to Haiti. We welcome the participation of the representative of Haiti in today's meeting, President, as the Security Council meets to review developments in Haiti and to consider the renewal of the mandate of the United Nations Integrated Office in Haiti. The A3 remains profoundly concerned by the persistence and worsening of Haiti's multidimensional crisis. While we acknowledge the resilience of the Haitian people, the magnitude of these challenges requires sustained national leadership as well as strengthened state institutions and coherent, predictable support from the international community. The A3 reaffirmed their commitment and unwavering support for peace and security in Haiti. We also reaffirm our respect for its territorial integrity and national unity. Recalling these principles, the A3 also reaffirmed the right of the Haitian people, who have endured decades of political, economic, and humanitarian crises, their right to well-being, stability, and development. Here, the A3 welcomes the commitment of Haiti's authorities to restoring constitutional order. This was set out in the political transition process led by the Presidential Transitional Council, and it is particularly grounded in the political agreement of the 3rd of April 2024. We note with satisfaction the adoption by Haiti's authorities of a timeline setting out the main steps which should lead to the organization of general elections in 2026. President, turning now to the political track, the situation in Haiti remains a source of concern and requires our collective attention. The mandate of the Transitional Presidential Council will expire in February 2026, and as such, with that, Haiti faces the risk that the transition could grow more complicated. While steps towards establishing an electoral framework have been initiated, and while elections are planned for later in 2026, persistent political divisions continue to undermine confidence in that process. The A3 emphasizes that sustainable progress requires an inclusive, Haitian-led political dialogue, one that guarantees institutional continuity, builds national consensus, and creates conditions for the holding of credible, peaceful, and transparent elections. We urge all stakeholders to engage constructively. They must place Haiti's stability and future above factional interests. On the security front, the situation remains of grave concern. It requires urgent coordinated action. Armed gangs continue to exert control over vast swathes of Port-au-Prince and have expanded their influence to other regions. This expansion of gang activity has further destabilize communities and weaken state authority. The A3 takes note of the Security Council's decision to transform the multinational security support mission into a more robust gang suppression force. This reflects the grave nature of the threat posed by armed gangs and the urgent need to restore public order. We underscore the fact that the effectiveness and credibility of this new security architecture will depend on clear rules of engagement, as well as adequate oversight mechanisms and strong coordination with Haitian authorities. The creation of the UN Support Office in Haiti is essential. This office must be sufficiently resourced in order to guarantee transparency, operational coherence, and civilian protection during this critical stabilization phase. To this end, A3 stresses the need to expedite and revitalize security sector reform. We call for enhanced and coordinated support from the United Nations and for international partners, particularly support for the National Commission for Disarmament, Dismantling and Reintegration. On the humanitarian front, Haiti's crisis requires an immediate and sustained international response. Around 1.4 million people are internally displaced within the country, including hundreds of thousands of vulnerable children. At the same time, food insecurity affects millions across the country. The A3 note with grave concern the significant underfunding of the humanitarian needs and response plan. We beseech international partners to increase their support in a timely, predictable, and flexible fashion in order to address critical humanitarian needs and prevent further deterioration of the situation on the ground. President, as the Council considers the renewal of BINUH's mandate, the A3 emphasizes the importance of ensuring that the mission is adequately resourced and empowered to support governance initiatives as well as to facilitate bolstered political dialogue, strengthen institutions, and coordinate humanitarian action. At the same time, there must be respect for and strengthening of Haitian ownership of the transition process. A balanced approach that aligns security, political, and humanitarian efforts remains vital to restoring stability and confidence. To conclude, President, the A3 remains determined to support a coherent, balanced, and Haitian-led approach, one that advances stability, inclusive governance, and sustainable recovery. We commend the devotion of UN personnel working under extremely challenging conditions in Haiti, and we reaffirm our tireless commitment to the Council's deliberations on this critical situation. Thank you.
I thank the representative of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. I give the floor to the representative of Greece.
Mr. President, at the outset, I would like to thank SRSG Massieu and the Acting Executive Director of UNODC, Mr. Brandolino, for their briefings. I also welcome the presence of representatives of Haiti, Mexico, the Dominican Republic, and Barbados in the meeting. The adoption of Security Council Resolution 2793 offers renewed hope for the stabilization of Haiti's security situation. Alongside the GSF's efforts to dismantle gang violence, it is high time that Haitian authorities reach a political transitional agreement that will lead to the holding of free, fair, and safe elections. In view of the above, I would like to make 3 points. First, we remain deeply concerned by the escalating armed violence and the expansion of gang activity beyond the capital, which have a devastating impact on Haiti's economy and humanitarian situation. We condemn the human rights abuses perpetrated by armed gangs, most notably the use of gender-based and sexual violence as a punitive tactic against the population and the recruitment, use, and trafficking of children. Against this grim backdrop, Resolution 2793 offers a glimmer of hope. We commend the progress made so far in the establishment of UNSOH and the deployment of GSF, including the Fourth Generation Conference held in December and the appointment of Mr. Jack Christofides as the Special Representative of the GSF. We wish him all the best in his new role and reassure him of our unwavering support. We also thank all member states that have pledged personnel to the GSF. Second, we welcome the Secretary General's benchmarks for transitioning security responsibilities to Haiti's national authorities, particularly regarding border management and combating trafficking in arms and narcotics. We encourage Haitian authorities to enhance their capacities in these sectors and reaffirm our support for their commitment to police development as well as justice and correctional reform. We reiterate our call for the establishment of a national institution on DDR to provide safe exit strategies, especially for children. The role of BINUH remains critical to the success of these initiatives. Third, we acknowledge the progress in electoral preparations, including the adoption of an electoral decree and the publication of the electoral calendar aiming for elections in 2026. We particularly applaud the gender quotas mandating at least 30% of women on party lists and with incentives for those reaching 50% or more. The full equal, meaningful, and safe participation of women in the elections and the broader political process is of paramount importance. Nevertheless, with the February 7 deadline for democratic transition fast approaching and with no interim solution in sight, we urge all stakeholders to intensify the inter-Asian dialogue to agree on new transitional governance arrangement until the holding of elections, leveraging the support of regional organizations and the good offices of BINUH. Mr. President, as we continue to aim for an improved security environment, we urge Asian authorities to also focus on transitional governance arrangements, electoral preparations, and institutional reform. From our part, we reiterate our unwavering support for BINUH and the SRSG for their tireless work. With the mission's mandate set for renewal at the end of the month, we remain committed to a strong and clear framework that enables BINUH to facilitate the political process and stabilization of Haiti while complementing the work of GSF and UNSO. I thank you.
I thank the representative of Greece for the statement. I give the floor to the representative of China.
President, I thank SRSG, Massieu, and Acting Executive Director Brandolino for their respective briefings and welcome the representatives of Haiti, Mexico, and the Dominican Republic to today's meeting. In the year 2025 that just passed, Haiti has yet to achieve the transition from turmoil to stability. The country's political transition remains uncertain, its governance is mired in crisis, its security situation has grown more complex, and the people are struggling to get by. For Haiti to truly break the cycle of crisis and achieve sustainable peace and development, it requires a comprehensive approach that addresses both the symptoms and root causes. Haiti itself must assume primary responsibility, while the international community should focus on root causes of crisis, learn from past experiences, and provide constructive assistance. Looking ahead to 2026, I wish to emphasize the following points. First, the top priority is to accelerate the political process. The fundamental solution to the Haitian crisis lies in establishing a legitimate, effective, and accountable government as soon as possible. The Secretary General's report notes that Haiti's transitional authorities have failed to achieve the goal of establishing a legitimate government on schedule, with less than 3 weeks remaining in the transitional authorities' term. Haitian stakeholders have yet to reach consensus on follow-up arrangements, sparking, therefore, widespread concern among all Haitian parties and the international community. The political transition is a means to hold consensus and restore order. It must not become an excuse for procrastination or evading responsibility. All Haitian parties and factions must prioritize the nation's future and the people's interests, strengthen unity, and expedite the Haitian-led, Haitian-owned political process. They must build consensus and form synergies to restore stability, advance elections, and strengthen governance. The Security Council, regional countries, and the international community must send a clear signal to all Haitian parties, urging them to advance the political process without delay. Second, the utmost priority is to strictly implement sanctions measures. The escalating gun violence in Haiti is inextricably linked to the large influx of illicit weapons and ammunition into the country. We urge all parties, especially the main source country of weapons and ammunition to Haiti, to take concrete measures in border control and weapons regulation in a bid to sever the channels of illegal weapons and ammunition flowing into Haiti at the source and to promptly report progress to the Sanctions Committee and the Security Council. We support strengthened oversight by the Sanctions Committee, the panel of experts, and the UNODC in this regard. Third, a crucial step is to comprehensively strengthen security governance. China has noted the benchmarks submitted by the Secretary General and increasing security forces capacities in Haiti. We hope the Haitian authorities will heighten their sense of urgency and take proactive measures to swiftly formulate and implement an effective security strategy, including addressing internal corruption and collusion between police and criminals. The international security support must fully respect Haiti's sovereignty and strictly comply with international law. The use of force must always be exercised with utmost caution, and civilians, especially vulnerable groups like children, must be effectively protected. Lead nations of relevant forces should demonstrate accountability to the Haitian people, the Security Council, and the international community by promptly informing the Council of progress in force generation and deployment. The Security Council must maintain close attention and rigorous oversight and take necessary actions to respond timely to the evolving situation. Fourth, the fundamental guarantee lies in improving tangibly people's livelihoods and development. Haiti's socio-economic conditions continue to deteriorate, with food and health crises intensifying and severe shortages in such basic services as education and healthcare, causing immense suffering to the ordinary people, not least women and children. This not only exacerbates Haiti's long-standing humanitarian crisis, but also drives many people, children included, to join gangs out of desperation. Development is the fundamental guarantee for achieving lasting peace. China calls on the Haitian authorities to increase development inputs, strengthen public services, and support the continued efforts of the UN development and humanitarian agencies, international financial institutions, and regional organizations to help Haiti advance development, improve livelihoods, and eliminate the breeding ground for violence. President, China commends SRSG Massieu for leading BINUH in holding the fort in Haiti, supports the renewal of BINUH's mandate, and expects BINUH to continue to focus on its core mandate and provide assistance to Haiti in promoting the political process and addressing the root causes of the crisis. Ultimately, the key to resolving the Haiti conundrum lies in the hands of the Haitian people. China stands ready to continue to work with the international community to support Haitian people in finding the right path out of crisis at an early date. I thank you, President.
I thank the representative of China for the statement. I give the floor to the representative of Colombia.
Gracias.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wish to thank the Special Representative of the Secretary General, Carlos Ruiz Massieu, and the Acting Executive Director of UNODC for their briefings. I welcome the permanent representatives of Haiti and of the delegations that accompany us today. Given that this is the first time that I'm addressing this Council on this file, I wish to begin by expressing Colombia's solidarity with the Haitian people and the commitment of President Gustavo Petro's government to supporting the Haitian people decisively in their quest for peace, stability, and sustainable development. Our sisterly bonds were forged more than 2 centuries ago, and we continue to be united by the desire for freedom harbored by both of our peoples. President, the Secretary General's report confirms that the security situation in Haiti is worsening, and that is a source of alarm. Colombia notes with particular concern the disproportionate impact of the violence on women and children. And we also note the persistent recruitment of children by armed groups. We trust that the deployment of the gang suppression force will serve to improve the security conditions and to protect civilians. However, security gains will only be sustainable if they go hand in hand with the effective strengthening of civic institutions indeed, and the rule of law. We must also see justice sector reform and progress made with tackling the structural causes of the conflict. These include poverty, inequality, corruption, and impunity. President, our national experience has shown us that there can be no peace without justice. The high levels of impunity in Haiti and the barriers preventing victims from reporting violence and accessing support services, particularly survivors of sexual and gender-based violence, create a gravely serious situation that requires urgent attention. With that in mind, we commend some of the positive developments seen during the reporting period. Here we would particularly point to the creation of specialized judicial units and the progress made with the implementation of the protocol for the surrendering and reintegration of children. We encourage the authorities to continue enhancing these efforts with the support of BINUH and the UN country team. As regards the critical humanitarian situation, Colombia urgently appeals to donors to close the gap between needs and resources. President. On the political front, Colombia values the adoption of the electoral decree and the publication of the electoral calendar. We particularly commend the provisions therein which promote the political participation of women, including the quotas for female candidacies. However, we are concerned by the security conditions surrounding the voter registration process. Elections will only be legitimate if they are conducted in a free, safe, inclusive and participatory fashion. Against that backdrop, we urge all sectors of Haitian society to reach a transitional governance arrangement which goes beyond the 7th of February. This arrangement must enjoy broad national consensus and guarantee institutional stability. The international support called for by many sectors of Haitian society will be key in this journey, and this Council must heed that request. President, the multidimensional crisis facing Haiti demands a comprehensive, sustainable and long-term response. Exclusively military solutions will not make it possible to stabilize the country. With that in mind, we wish to say that BINUH constitutes the primary political pillar of international support. It plays a key role in providing integrated, coordinated and sustained support to the Haitian authorities in line with their national priorities. At a decisive juncture for Haiti's future, we cannot allow the creation of institutional vacuums that may be filled by violent actors and leave the civilian population entirely without protection. The consolidation of security gains requires a robust, sustained political mandate that can complement the gang suppression force. To conclude, Colombia reiterates its solidarity with the people of Haiti and its readiness to continue contributing bilaterally, regionally, and multilaterally to a comprehensive, solidarity-based, integrated response. This response will also be based on shared responsibility and full respect for Haitian sovereignty. Thank you.
I thank the representative of Colombia for the statement. I give the floor to the representative of Latvia.
Monsieur le Président.
Mr. President, we thank the Special Representative of the Secretary General for Haiti, Mr. Carlos Ruiz Massieu, and Acting Executive Director of UNODC, Mr. John Brandolino, for their comprehensive briefings. And we welcome the presence among us of the representatives of Haiti, Mexico, the Dominican Republic, and Barbados. As I consider the report of the Secretary General and the recent developments in Haiti, I wish to emphasize 3 points. First and foremost, we note with concern that there is a notable lack of improvement of the security situation, and the influence of armed groups beyond Port-au-Prince has expanded. Latvia condemns in the strongest terms the persistent violence being perpetrated by the gangs and the widespread violations of human rights in Haiti, including kidnappings, sexual violence, trafficking in human persons, homicides, extrajudicial executions, as well as the recruitment, the abduction, and the exploitation of children by the gangs. Frequently, very small children are being targeted. Enough is enough. This situation requires a radical shift. For this reason, we support the prompt deployment of the GSF and the establishment of the UN Support Office in Haiti in accordance with Security Council Resolution 2793. And we encourage all international and national security forces present in Haiti to cooperate closely in order to improve security conditions fully in accordance with international human rights law. Second point, we welcome the significant steps undertaken by the Haitian authorities for a political transition. Nevertheless, we are observing with profound concern that efforts to establish a legitimate transitional government at this juncture have failed to yield concrete results. The 7 February deadline is fast approaching. And at this critical juncture for the democratic future of Haiti, we call upon all Haitian stakeholders to cast aside their differences and to reach agreement on a solution that would enjoy broad support. In Haiti, an absence of agreed-upon government agreed upon by political actors is reflected not just in political instability, this is also reflected in a lack of protection for Haitian society, especially for Haitian women and children. This means violence perpetrated with impunity and persistent hunger and despair. With more than 8,000 dead owing to gang violence between January and November of last year, 1.4 million displaced persons, and 5.7 million people experiencing food insecurity, Haiti can no longer afford to remain mired in chaos, violence, and humanitarian despair. Third point, the Haitian authorities need to address an urgent and growing number of tasks. The conduct of free and fair and safe elections is key for the restoration of rule of law there. We welcome the publication of the electoral calendar last month, and we stress the need to create the necessary security conditions for the conduct of credible and legitimate elections in all of Haiti. This entails technical and logistical preparations, specifically the drawing up of voter rolls, voter registration, the organization of electoral campaigns, for which greater coordination is necessary among local, regional, and international stakeholders. There's a need to act without delay, hence the importance of the prompt deployment of the gang suppression force. In this context, we encourage the Haitian authorities and civil society to spare no effort in promoting an inclusive electoral process guaranteeing full, real, equal, and meaningful participation of women, young people, and all of civil society. The Transitional Presidential Council has made judicial reform a bedrock of national stability. We urge the Haitian authorities to take this opportunity to shore up regional and international support in order to counter corruption, impunity, and organized crime, and to pool these efforts with a decisive determination to hold all perpetrators of crimes accountable, including those responsible for grave violations against children. To conclude, I wish to assure you that Latvia will continue to extend our support for BINUH and our support for the implementation of all of the provisions of Security Council Resolution 2793. And once again, we call upon the Haitian authorities to honor their commitments in order to prove safety and security, to usher in a credible political transition, and to stabilize the humanitarian situation. Thank you.
I thank the representative of Latvia for the statement. I give the floor to the representative of the United Kingdom.
Thank you, President, and thank you, SRSG Ruiz Massieu and Acting Director of UNODC, John Brandolino, for your briefings. I welcome the permanent representatives of Haiti, Mexico, the Dominican Republic, and Barbados to this chamber. The United Kingdom remains deeply concerned by the expansion and intensification of violence in Haiti. Children are the victims at the forefront of this crisis. They face extreme food insecurity, are unable to access education, and are increasingly exposed to forced recruitment by gangs as well as sexual exploitation. We condemn the actions of armed gangs which brings daily suffering to the Haitian population. The United Kingdom looks forward to the deployment of the UN Support Office to Haiti and the rapid scaling up of security support. We thank the troop contributing countries for their pledges and look forward to their deployment to bolster personnel on the ground. We hope the gang suppression force will restore the rule of law, protect civilians, and create the conditions necessary for credible elections. President, enhanced security efforts alone will not be enough to address Haiti's broader governance problems. We call on all Haitian political actors to put their differences aside and to work together in good faith. This includes efforts to tackle corruption and ensure accountability. We echo the Secretary-General's call for all parties to act swiftly and responsibly on transitional governance arrangements. An agreement should be reached without delay given the expiry of the mandate of the Transitional Presidential Council next month. We welcome the Haitian government's efforts to agree an electoral timetable this year, which sets out a path to much-needed elections. A return to constitutional order through free, fair and safe elections is essential for Haiti's future. The UK fully supports the continuation of BINUH's vital work. This includes its efforts to facilitate inclusive political dialogue, strengthen democratic institutions, and promote respect for human rights. It is vital the mission has the capacity and capability to address women and child protection issues, given these vulnerable groups bear the brunt of gang-related violence, including sexual violence. We also expect the mission to continue its work in promoting the full, equal, meaningful and safe participation of women in political processes. The United Kingdom will continue to work constructively with all Council members towards a timely adoption of BINUH's mandate this month. Thank you.
I thank the representative of the United Kingdom for the statement. I give the floor to the representative of Denmark.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also thank Special Representative Massieu and Acting Executive Director Brandolino for the briefings. As we begin the new year, 2026 must turn the tide on Haiti's prolonged, multifaceted crisis and set Haitians on the path to peace, stability, and democracy. Allow me to focus on 3 points. First, tackling the security crisis is necessary for progress on all other fronts. Denmark welcomes the implementation of Resolution 2793, which established the Gang Suppression Force, aided by a UN support office. We are hopeful that this will mark a turning point in Haiti's fight against the gangs, and we welcome pledges of support by member states. We reiterate that the GSF must operate with the highest standard of conduct and discipline, with robust oversight and transparency, and in strict compliance with international human rights law. We also stress the need for significantly strengthening the capacity of the Haitian National Police, in line with the benchmarks set out by the UN. The focus must remain on paving the way for a transition of security responsibilities to national institutions. We further underscore the urgency for judicial and prison reform. This is necessary to bring accountability for serious crimes and end rampant impunity. It must also address the high number of pre-trial detainees currently serving indefinite sentences in dangerously overcrowded prisons. Accelerated progress in setting up the 2 specialized judicial units to handle cases on human rights violations, corruption, and financial crimes is paramount. We underscore the importance of the full implementation of UN sanctions for Haiti, particularly the arms embargo, to stem the illicit flow of arms and ammunition into the country. Second, Denmark remains alarmed by Haiti's mounting humanitarian and human rights crisis. Internal displacement has reached more than 1.4 million people, aggravated by forced returns. Humanitarian needs are acute, and we call on member states to support Haiti's humanitarian response plan. Women and girls face disproportionate harm, particularly from widespread and persistent acts of sexual and gender-based violence. We call on the Haitian authorities to take immediate and sustained action to prevent and to address sexual violence and to ensure gender-responsive access to basic services for the survivors. Addressing grave violations against children should also be a priority. In light of the alarmingly high number of children recruited into gangs, ensuring safe exit, disarmament, dismantlement, and reintegration is crucial. We believe the UN should take a larger role in coordinating, designing, and implementing DDR initiatives, and we call on the Haitian government to urgently designate a national institution to lead on DDR to facilitate this cooperation. Third, on the political front, it's regrettable that elections have not been held to instate a democratic government by the 7 February deadline. National stakeholders must urgently find a common path forward to continue a political transition and preparations for elections, and guard against any challenges or threats to the transition. Haiti's political future must be Haiti-led and Haiti-owned through a credible, democratic, inclusive process with the full, equal and meaningful participation of women as well as youth and civil society. In closing, in these fragile times, the role of BINUH will be indispensable for supporting Haitian authorities in facilitating civic dialogue and in the organization of elections. Denmark expresses our full support for BINUH and looks forward to the renewal of its mandate at the end of the month. Thank you.
I thank the representative of Denmark for the statement. I give the floor to the representative of Bahrain.
Mr. President, at the outset, I extend my thanks to the Secretary General for his report and to Mr. Carlos Massieu, the Special Representative of the Secretary General and Head of the United Nations Integrated Office in Haiti, for his briefing. I also express the Bahrain's appreciation for the efforts of BINUH in supporting the achievement of sustainable solution in Haiti. I also thank Mr. John Brandolino, the Acting Executive Director of the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, for his briefing. The Kingdom of Bahrain shares with the international community its deep concern regarding the deterioration of the political, security, and humanitarian situation in Haiti. In this context, the Kingdom of Bahrain underscores the importance of an inclusive and constructive national dialogue among all Haitian stakeholders as the optimal path to reaching broad consensus on the course leading to free and transparent elections, ensuring institutional stability and consolidating democratic governance. The Kingdom stresses that this dialogue must be Haitian-led and Haitian-owned, with the support of the international community in a manner that respects Haiti's sovereignty and independence. The Kingdom of Bahrain is following with great concern the continued deterioration of the security situation across various parts of the country and the ensuing grave suffering of the civilian population and violations of rights. The Kingdom affirms that the political and institutional progress will not be possible without a tangible improvement in the security and the protection of women and children from violence and forced recruitment. In this regard, the Kingdom of Bahrain underscores the importance of Security Council Resolution 2793, adopted last September, which authorized the transformation of the Multinational Security Support Mission into a gang suppression force. At a time when the briefings and reports have made clear the worsening humanitarian situation in Haiti, aggravated after Hurricane Melissa, and the country's experience of food and water insecurity, mass displacement and spread of endemics, and the collapse of essential services, the Kingdom of Bahrain emphasizes the importance of concerted international efforts and joint work with the United Nations to support Haiti's and assist its people in addressing these challenges in a way that safeguards its security and stability and advances the path of development and peace. In conclusion, the Kingdom of Bahrain expresses its solidarity with the transitional government and the friendly people of Haiti and renews its firm commitment to humanitarian principles and to working jointly with the international community and the United Nations to support Haiti, enable it to overcome current challenges, and achieve a more secure and stable future for the friendly people of Haiti. Thank you.
The Russian Federation.
Mr. President, we wish to thank the Special Representative of Secretary General Carlos Luis Massieu and Acting Executive Director of UNODC, John Brandolino, for the briefings on the situation in Haiti. The country is at a pivotal juncture. In the next few months, the decisions to be taken will determine whether or not the Haitians will be whether or not Haiti will be in a position to provide for a transition to democratically elected institutions and a constitutional path for the development of the state. We call upon Haitian political forces to reach agreement promptly about the future configuration of the transitional authorities who will be able to keep the situation in the country from further deteriorating and to conduct general elections. It is important for decisions with respect to the government arrangements after 7 February and on the electoral process to be conducted without external intervention, which in Haitian history has occurred far too frequently. The pre-election period is very vulnerable not just in terms of crime and in terms of the criminal players and their sponsors, but also in terms of the interest of external forces. They have their colonialist mindsets, and they continue to try to take the opportunity to cleanse the political landscape of the country and to advance their protégés without any consideration for the Haitians of the interests of the Haitian people. We hope that the patriotically minded political forces and the people of the country who rightly take great pride in the history of independence of Haiti will not allow for that to happen. Naturally, the discussion about conducting elections can only be had when there's a very dire security situation in the country is stabilized. For now, we see the opposite. There's an ongoing spillover of the activity of armed groups beyond Port-au-Prince and growing violence being observed in such regions as Artibonite and Center departments. Nor can we fail to note that the Haitian National Police, who are under brutal pressure of criminal groups, not only has not lost its capabilities, but also has managed to replenish its ranks with new recruits and to maintain control of critically important regions and infrastructure facilities. They have been maintained under the control of the government. Against this backdrop, what is noteworthy is the cooperation of Haiti with private military companies to combat crime. As a result of drone strikes with the participation of American private companies, not a single gang leader has been liquidated. However, their actions have resulted in the deaths of dozens of civilians, including children. We believe that far more effective would have been real steps by the U.S. side to stem trafficking in weapons and munitions, which continue to reach Haiti from Florida without any impediment, despite the current arms embargo in effect and the measures that have been announced by Washington. Mr. President, both the Haitian people and the international community have a right to anticipate further progress in the deployment of what the gang suppression force, which was established by the Security Council 4 months after the adoption of Security Council Resolution 2793. A real reformatting has not yet taken place of the largely Kenyan contingent on the ground into a larger numbered multinational mission with a robust mandate. The Council is not receiving any official information about its deployment. And at the same time, the operationalization of what was established by the same resolution, namely the UN with the funds from the regular budget, is fully underway. So a legitimate question arises: who will support this office, the division, while the new contingents have not yet reached the area? And how much will this cost member states? The Russian Federation has a conscientious approach when it comes to implementation of Security Council resolutions and decisions. We insist that there be a full accounting of the gang suppression force and the groups for the permanent partners before the Security Council. International assistance to Port-au-Prince should not be limited merely to directly to hard security. Without eliminating the root causes of the crisis, which are in establishment of governing institutions and national economy, will be difficult for Haiti to maintain any progress in stabilizing the state. An important role in facilitating priorities, the achievement of priorities of Port-au-Prince on the political, in the political realm is attributed to BINUH. We support the extension of the mandate of a special political mission and the activities of Mr. Massieu at its helm, who has already undertaken significant efforts for the work of the office in Port-au-Prince to be conducted in a calibrated and effective and efficient way. Thank you.
I thank the representative of the Russian Federation for the statement. I give the floor to the representative of Pakistan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I thank SRSG Carlos Ruiz Massieu and Acting Executive Director of UNODC John Brandolino for the comprehensive briefings. I welcome the participation of the permanent representative of Haiti to this meeting, along with the representatives of Mexico, Dominican Republic, and Barbados. The multidimensional challenges faced by Haiti, first and foremost by the Haitian people, require a sustained and consistent support of the international community, including this Council. We regret that the quagmire of political instability, security predicaments, humanitarian crises, issues of governance, and the downslide in socio-economic indicators continue to plague the country. Haiti's future hinges on the decisive choices of its leadership, backed by adequate global support and regional solidarity. These decisions must be meticulously calibrated, keeping in view the goal of a safe, secure, and dignified future for all Haitians, protecting the future generations against further instability and deprivation. We take note of the impending deadline of 7th February. It will be vital for all stakeholders in the country to demonstrate unity and a sense of purpose, not allowing political expediencies to override the goals of achieving stability. We also take note of the new electoral calendar published by the Haitian authorities. While acknowledging the challenging timelines proposed, we remain hopeful that the Haitian authorities, with support from the UN and other international partners, would be able to hold national elections and ensure smooth transfer of power to the elected representatives. Mr. President, we are concerned to see continued gang violence in the country as well as the long-term effects of protracted violence on the Haitian society. We strongly condemn the recruitment and exploitation of children by gangs, and in this context appreciate BINUH's role in supporting DDR and CVR strategies to address these vital issues. We also commend United States and Panama, the pen holders, for their focus on this aspect in the upcoming BINUH mandate renewal. Pakistan welcomes the role of regional countries as well as international partners to extend political and security support to Haiti. We hope that the arrangements put in place by Security Council Resolution 2793 would help Haiti overcome the security challenges in an effective and sustainable manner. Long-term stability of Haiti requires a comprehensive and responsive Haitian-owned and led process, one that caters to the security and socio-economic needs of all Haitians. International support only remains a means to that end and cannot be a substitute for intra-Haitian solutions. Towards this end, the external assistance must, therefore, be well coordinated and aimed at building the capacity of the Haitian state in line with Haitian needs. To conclude, Mr. President, what Haiti needs today, perhaps more than ever, is unity of purpose and not divisive politics. This, backed by well-conceived and executed international and regional support, can help usher long-term stability, progress, and prosperity in the country. Pakistan stands ready to play a constructive role towards this goal. I thank you very much.
I thank the representative of Pakistan for the statement. I give the floor to the representative of France.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. President. First and foremost, I wish to thank the Special Representative, Mr. Carlos Ruiz Massieu, and the Acting Executive Director of UNODC, Mr. John Brandolino, for their briefings, and I welcome the presence among us of the Permanent Representative of Haiti, as well as the participation of the Permanent Representatives of Mexico, the Dominican Republic, and Barbados. Mr. President engaged in a decisive, steadfast effort to free Haiti of the tyranny of gangs. We find ourselves at a critical juncture for the future of Haiti, and we need to collectively rise to this occasion. First and foremost, the Security Council, at the initiative of the Secretary General and states in the region, specifically the United States, has shouldered responsibility by adopting important decisions in order to support the Haitian people in the way that they need. The establishment of the Gang Suppression Force and the UN Support Office for Haiti, whose initial components will be deployed by early April, is making good headway. France applauds the announcements of states willing to provide troops, and we are contributing to this effort with financial contributions to the UN Trust Fund and the UN peacekeeping budget. We must spare no effort to surmount this challenge and to demonstrate the ability of the international community to repress gangs and to retake control of territories under their control. For this to be successful, a renewed commitment of Haiti to enhance its security forces and to combat against trafficking is necessary. This is a prerequisite to facilitate, when the time is right, a transfer of security-related responsibility to the national authorities and to establish stability over the long term. France welcomes the benchmarks proposed by the Secretary General in this regard. We will continue to contribute with training and equipment donations to the National Police, to Customs, and the Armed Forces of Haiti. Turning to my second point. In the immediate term, the priority is for the Haitians themselves to endeavor to pursue the political transition and to preserve institutional stability. France calls upon the Haitian parties to pursue dialogue on the country's governance. Following the transitional period on 7 February 2026, we reiterate the importance of rebuilding democratic institutions and rule of law. This is necessary in order to end large-scale human rights violations, which particularly affect women and children, and to tackle the humanitarian crisis, as more than half of the Haitian population suffers as a result of food insecurity, as was recalled today. France takes note of the decision of the Provisional Electoral Council to set the date for presidential legislative elections in 2026 once security-related conditions have been restored. Third point, security-related efforts cannot suffice unless they go hand in hand with complementary measures to combat organized crime and impunity. The system of a crime economy has been clearly explained to us. The international community's efforts will be in vain if we fail to strip the criminal gangs of the support which they enjoy. France will continue its efforts to persuade the members of the Council to add to the UN sanctions list any individual providing these gangs with economic or political support. It is incumbent upon the Council, lastly, to see to it that BINUH can help the Haitian authorities to fight against impunity and corruption. Beyond supporting the political process, BINUH has an important role to play in supporting a reinforcement of the Haitian judicial and penitentiary system in order to allow the Haitian authorities to deal with individuals apprehended through upcoming police operations. This in addition to suppression of financial crimes and infractions, as well as mass crimes and sexual and gender-based violence through the operationalization of new specialized judicial centers. By way of conclusion, France will endeavor to grant BINUH the necessary mandate to carry out its tasks. We wish to reiterate our full support for the Special Representative in his efforts, specifically in the coordination of various United Nations stakeholders, as well as support for the gang suppression force to restore stability and civil peace in Haiti. Thank you.
I thank the representative of France for the statement. I now give the floor to the representative of Haiti.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, on the 1st of January 2026, Haiti celebrated our 222nd anniversary of independence. I wish to take this opportunity of my presence here to thank the ambassadors who kindly extended their best wishes to Haiti during that celebration. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, members of the Council, I welcome the Somalian presidency for the month of January, and I wish you, Mr. President, every wish for success in the conduct of your work over the duration of your mandate. I also wish to extend to all Security Council members my warmest wishes for peace, prosperity, and success in 2026. I turn to the new members of the Council, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Bahrain, Latvia, Liberia, and Colombia. And I extend to them my best wishes as they take up their seats at the Council. I welcome the presence of the colleagues from Mexico, the Dominican Republic, and Barbados. Mr. President, we listened with great attention to the briefing presented by the Special Representative of the Secretary General, Head of BINUH, Mr. Carlos Gabriel Ruiz Massieu. And I wish to applaud his leadership at the helm of BINUH. I also welcome the clarity of the report submitted by John Brandolino, Acting Executive Director of UNODC. We take note of the concerns voiced by Council members and reaffirm the intent of our government to pursue constructive and open dialogue with all of our partners to rise to the legitimate aspirations of the Haitian people. I frequently recall the unique role of Haiti in world history, as well as the staggering cost as we ensured the triumph of the values of human dignity and human freedom. And I continuously mention the deep wounds which continue to blight the future of our people. However, the Haitian people shall triumph over these hardships. The international community and history will forever remember that Haitian soil is a soil of hospitality and universal asylum for all victims, for the oppressed, and for peoples seeking solidarity. Today's Security Council meeting on Haiti is being held at a particularly important juncture as the Council considers the renewal of BINUH, of the mandate of BINUH. We wish to extend our appreciation to the penholders, Panama and the United States of America. We thank them for their efforts in crafting the draft resolution, and we thank all members of the Security Council for the constructive spirit which prevailed during the initial consultations. There is an important need to stress that this meeting is being held in a context where the international community is tangibly seeking to implement the decisions adopted by the Security Council. In that vein, we take note of progress achieved in the implementation of Security Council Resolution 2793, specifically vis-a-vis the steps of the transition of the multinational security support mission to the gang suppression force, as well as progress related to the establishment of the UN Support Office in Haiti. There is also an important need to stress the fact that today's meeting is being held as we near the end of the 3 April 2024 political agreement scheduled to end on 7 February 2026. This deadline, which places the Haitian transition in a delicate and decisive phase. This moment calls for a balanced assessment of the efforts undertaken for the implementation of the agreement while taking into account the persistent challenges, specifically those related to the security landscape and institutional constraints. In that vein, there's a need to approach this deadline with a sense of responsibility and a spirit of foresight in order to sustain the continuity of the state and to avoid any disruptions that may undermine the operation of national institutions. In this spirit, the Transitional Presidential Council, motivated by the importance of ensuring inclusive dialogue, brought together all political stakeholders, institutional stakeholders, and civil society. And the aim remains to achieve, through consultation and through consensus, to achieve another political agreement to usher in an orderly transition and to avoid any institutional vacuum and to shore up conditions for a credible restoration of constitutional order. Our government reaffirms the fact that only a solution based on national ownership, a solution underpinned by coherent and respectful international support, can ensure institutional stability, can restore the trust of the population, and can create lasting conditions for peace and democracy. Mr. President, the Haitian National Police, with limited resources, is currently gradually retaking control of certain key localities, breaking the hold of criminal gangs over strategic areas. And I wish to applaud the courage and the determination of these individuals. This fight against organized crime has also been made possible thanks to the support of the Haitian Armed Forces, who play a critical role by supporting the security-related efforts in the most critical areas. And yet, despite this progress, Haiti continues to face major challenges which pose unprecedented threats to the safety of our people. The violence perpetrated by armed groups, punctuated by massacres, abductions, systematic violations of human rights, remains an existential threat. These groups are equipped with heavy caliber weapons. They operate in complete impunity. They impose their law, and they are paralyzing the country's economy. We appreciate the steadfast commitment of the Security Council vis-à-vis the Haitian population. Once again, we applaud the determination of the Council in the transformation of the Multinational Security Support Mission into the Gang Suppression Force. This action by the Council stands as a testament of the understanding of this protracted crisis and its impact on the Haitian nation and the region. We are grateful forever to Kenya for the efforts through the force, and we are grateful to all countries who have made pledges to contribute to the GSF. Pledges of financing or pledges to deliver equipment, as well as materiel and troops and contingents. We wish to emphasize that the Gang Suppression Force is seeking to achieve strictly security-related challenges, and yet the Haitian crisis remains multifaceted and requires a truly holistic approach. In this regard, the office of BINUH, the role of BINUH remains key in supporting the Haitian state for peace building, institution building, and trust building among citizens and public institutions. Building upon these efforts, there is also a need to recognize the significance of support of BINUH vis-à-vis the organization of general elections, which remain a stated priority of the Haitian government and a necessary passage towards the restoration of stable democratic governance and institution building. Mr. President, we deem it necessary for BINUH to enhance its support for national authorities in the implementation of a comprehensive disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration policy, which is tailored to reflect realities on the ground. This policy needs to go beyond security-related objectives and to incorporate socioeconomic reintegration mechanisms which are credible in order to provide young people and vulnerable populations with opportunities and real alternatives to violence and the criminal economy. In the same vein, we call for greater support of BINUH for the crafting and implementation of the community violence reduction policy centered on violence prevention, enhancement of social cohesion, and empowerment of local communities. The sustainable recovery of Haiti can only be achieved if there is active involvement of the affected communities. There needs to be a resilience-based approach, an approach based upon prevention and social reconciliation. We call upon BINUH to continue and to enhance its technical support for the Haitian judicial authorities in order to combat prolonged detention which is one of the most alarming challenges to rule of law in Haiti. The strengthening of the judicial system is a bedrock of any lasting stabilization strategy. Support of BINUH in the area of justice is key to contribute to combating impunity, to guaranteeing access to justice, and creating the necessary conditions for successful DDR and CVR policies. Absent credible and operational justice, there can be no lasting peace envisaged in Haiti. Lastly, Mr. President, as part of the renewal of the mandate of BINUH, these priorities need to be taken on board. The renewed mandate needs to reflect the current realities on the ground and to provide BINUH with technical and operational means that reflect the challenges in order to effectively and efficiently support Haitian authorities in these key areas, which are of vital importance for the lasting stabilization of the country and for the restoration of the rule of law. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
I thank the representative of Haiti for the statement. I give the floor to the representative of Mexico.
Muchas gracias, señor presidente.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mexico is grateful for the briefing issued by the Special Representative of the Secretary General and Head of the United Nations Integrated Office in Haiti, BINUH. That is Mr. Carlos Ruiz Massieu. The persistent violence among criminal gangs in Haiti, Mr. President, has produced a crisis of vast proportions. Since 2022, the conflict has given rise to the internal displacement of around 1.4 million people. That amounts to around 12% of the Haitian population. This figure clearly illustrates the grave nature of the situation and points to the urgent need for a sustained response to be provided by this Council and the international community as a whole. Mexico recognizes the action that the Security Council took with the adoption of Resolution 2793 in 2025. That resolution created the United Nations Support Office in Haiti and the Gang Suppression Force. These decisions reflect the commitment to support the Haitian government in the face of the pressure brought to bear by the activity of criminal groups. However, this external support will only bear fruit if Haitian authorities make the most of it to set in motion a clear plan with clear goals and realistic strategies, a plan which will allow them to make progress with strengthening institutions and will allow them to relatively quickly assume effective control of the full extent of national territory elsewhere. And moreover, that plan must go beyond mere repression in order to allow the people in the territories wrested from gang control to restore hope and once again trust the state institutions. It will be vital to deploy their basic services which alleviate the dire current humanitarian situation and which offer dignified living conditions to those that have fallen victim to and survived violence in recent years. Mexico will continue to cooperate bilaterally with Haiti in strengthening its armed forces and in building capacity for the organization of elections. These are two key areas in resolving the current crisis. My country will also continue to support regional organizations and initiatives which are heeding the interests of the Haitian people and which are fully respectful of their sovereignty. Such organizations and initiatives include the OAS, CARICOM, and the Organization of Caribbean States. We call for efforts to ensure that we do not fragment efforts, that we avoid unnecessary red tape and bureaucratic structures and the duplication of initiatives. We believe that the situation in Haiti must be addressed through a balanced combination of humanitarian, peace-building and development initiatives. As such, we appeal to this Council to renew the mandate of the United Nations Integrated Office in Haiti. BINUH is vital at this time to avoid institutional collapse in Haiti and to coherently shepherd the efforts of all actors on the ground towards peace. Community violence reduction programs, as well as disarmament, demobilization, reintegration initiatives, are key in creating an environment propitious to lasting peace. Finally, Mexico underscores the fact that the work of the United Nations must be focused on consolidating the Haitian state and on facilitating the emergence of a new social compact, one which will make it possible to overcome historic injustices and inequalities which vast swathes of the Haitian people have long suffered. Thank you.
I thank the representative of Mexico for the statement. I give the floor to the representative of the Dominican Republic.
Gracias, señor presidente.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Carlos Ruiz Massieu, Mr. Brandolino, distinguished Ambassador Eric Pierre, colleagues of Barbados and Mexico, distinguished members of the Council. We congratulate Somalia at the outset for assuming the presidency of the Security Council. We're grateful to Mr. Ruiz Massieu and Mr. Brandolino for the comprehensive briefings delivered. We wish to also take this opportunity to recognize the appointment of Mr. Jack Christofidis. We wish him every success, and we reaffirm the full support and cooperation of the Dominican Republic. We stand at a decisive juncture. The mandate of the UN Integrated Office in Haiti, BINUH, expires on the 31st of January. The mandate of the Transitional Presidential Council expires on the 7th of February, as has been said, and international security architecture is currently fully evolving and shifting with the establishment of the Gang Suppression Force and UNSO. Concrete steps have been taken towards the implementation of Resolution 2793, and the electoral calendar has elections envisaged for the 30th of August 2026. We're grateful to the countries which made pledges at the Fourth Generation Conference, particularly El Salvador, Guatemala, and Chad. The Dominican Republic will continue to provide support in the form of medical evacuation support, and we've committed $10 million to medical care and logistical support there. And we facilitated the establishment of an operations and human resource management office for UNSO on Dominican soil. The reports we've received bring us face to face, Mr. President, with a critical reality. More than 8,100 deaths were documented in 2025. More than 80% of Port-au-Prince is under gang control, and their control is expanding towards Artibonite and the Central Plateau. The gangs have established territorial control structures which govern people's access to spaces, livelihoods, and services. Arms trafficking must be tackled from a regional perspective. The UNODC report documents the Dominican Republic efforts. These include border infrastructure with sensors and drones, sieges at ports, the destruction of some 3,945 confiscated weapons, and financial intelligence cooperation. Regional cooperation bears fruit, but no country can face the above challenge alone. 2 decades of international presence have taught us that security gains are fragile and can be reversed if a comprehensive approach is not adopted. The Secretary General was clear. Security efforts alone, and here I paraphrase loosely, will not be sufficient to tackle the broader governance issues that were unleashed by the crisis. The renewal of BINUH's mandate must provide for the strengthening of the judicial system and the prison system. It must also provide for effective disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration programs. Alongside security action, it is vital to open up pathways for economic development and job creation. Young Haitian people require real opportunities for education and decent work, opportunities that can provide more promising prospects than those offered by criminal networks. There are mechanisms currently in place and new forms of achieving those goals in the short term. Without legitimate economic alternatives, any security gain will be fragile and indeed fleeting. We echo the appeal issued by the Secretary General. It is vital to avoid a political or constitutional vacuum. We support a robust renewal of BINUH's mandate, one which retains the good offices and political advisory components, one which preserves capacities to monitor human rights, one which provides support to the justice system and reintegration programs, and one which guarantees coordination between BINUH, the GSF, and UNSO. The Haitian people has demonstrated extraordinary resilience. Their strength must be a source of inspiration to us and underpin a truly integrated approach, one which will make it possible to usher in the peaceful and prosperous future that people deserve. Thank you.
I thank the representative of the Dominican Republic for the statement. I give the floor to the representative of Barbados.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have the honor to deliver today's statement on behalf of the 14 member states of the Caribbean Community, CARICOM. CARICOM commends the hard work of the United Nations Integrated Office in Haiti, BINUH, which has been achieved often under very difficult circumstances. In light of this, we thank SRSG Ruiz Massieu for his comprehensive and insightful report, which provides inter alia a clear assessment of the political, security, and humanitarian challenges confronting Haiti. The report underscores the urgency of the current situation and the importance of sustained international engagement that is coordinative and responsive to the priorities of the Haitian people. We also thank Acting Executive Director Brandolino for his briefing. Mr. President, we note that 2026 will be a critical year for Haiti, particularly with the implementation of the gang suppression force, which was adopted by this Council in late 2025. We underscore the importance of this force in restoring a measure of safety and stability for the people of Haiti. Mr. President, CARICOM also looks forward to the holding of long-awaited, free and fair elections in Haiti in 2026 as an essential step in the restoration of Haiti's political infrastructure, democratic governance, and public trust in state institutions. We believe that the achievement of transparent, inclusive, and credible elections is a key to returning the country to the path towards long-term stability. In this vein, CARICOM strongly supports the renewal of BINUH's mandate and calls for the mission to be adequately resourced to support the critical work of strengthening and consolidating the security and government structures in Haiti. As I conclude, Mr. President, CARICOM reaffirms its sustained support and unwavering commitment to the people of Haiti as they work to overcome these challenges. We remain fully engaged in supporting Haitian-led solutions that strengthen institutions, uphold the rule of law, and improve the lives of all Haitians. Within this context, we encourage the international community to continue to stand with Haiti in solidarity and partnership as the country advances towards peace, stability, and democratic renewal, and in meeting the 2026 humanitarian appeal. I thank you, Mr. President.
I thank the representative of Barbados for the statement. There are no more names inscribed on the list of speakers. The meeting is adjourned.